A very pleasant good afternoon as we welcome you into yet another edition of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show at Quaker Steak and Lube. And we start the show with an exclamation, UGH, UGH, and then about 10 exclamation points. Just UGH.
It's a good call. You know why? You know what I'm going to say about that? I wasn't even thinking about that until you just said UGH. Charlie Brown.
Yep.
The moving.
Yep.
Lucy, is it Lucy?
That's exactly what it feels like. Yep. Yeah. And, we talked on Thursday. Well, I talked a couple different shows during the week that if Penn State would lose, which, of course, they were not going to, but if they were to lose, that it would depend in part how they lost in terms of, all right, the perspective and what this means for the rest of the season. As with everything, you can look at it from a couple of different angles. You can have a different thought on the way this thing unfolded. It is devastating, I think, and especially because of the reaction. And yes, fan being short for fanatic, you're, in some ways you're all in, but then you also can quickly turn all out. And listen, you cannot sugarcoat this. Drew Aller has not come up big in the big moments in the big games. That is now a consistent pattern throughout his career. It doesn't mean you should throw him under the bus. Doesn't mean that he won't ever come up big. But yeah, I mean, the last thing as a Penn State fan you wanted to see of all of the ways that game could have ended was the way it did, with Drew Aller throwing an interception that seals the loss for Penn State, the win for Oregon, and the noise, as we talked about last week, is loud. It is loud surrounding James Franklin. It is loud surrounding Drew Aller. For Penn State fans, those that aren't just outright angry and over the top ridiculous, it's heartbreaking, right? Because you want your coach, your kid, to come through in these big moments. You want them to be able, and you know that they want to. They want to be able to walk into that post-game press conference and, I told you guys we were good enough to do it. I told you we would get this turned around. They want to do that so badly. They were so close to being able to do it last year. They were so close to being able to do it in this Oregon game. But at the end of the day, all of the doubters, just another round of ammunition as if they needed it. Hey, we know your coach can't win the big game. We know your quarterback won't come up big in the big moment. And all you can do right now, if you're a Penn State fan or if you're James Franklin or you're Drew Aller, is eat it and go back to work and see if, God willing, you can get this turned around. You will have at least one more gigantic opportunity, maybe a couple of more opportunities during the regular season, and fingers crossed, then some opportunities when the postseason rolls around.
Yeah.
But man, just frustrating. It is one of those things where you felt like, all right, you come back, you get all of this momentum, and then you get the 2-point conversion stopped. It's there for the taking, and boom, it's gone. So anticlimactic, so disappointing, so frustrating. And now, again, as a fan base, yep, you can be angry. They got to make a change. They got to do this. They got to do that. That's fine. Fans, media can say, call whatever they want. In that locker room, Goon, take me in there, because I think this has got to be – there's been many, many challenges throughout James Franklin's career, throughout Drew Aller's career. This has to be the most difficult week to this point in either of their careers.
Yeah, I'm going to say that they put a lot of eggs in that basket of this season. They talked about the returning starters, returning quarterback. How many guys came back on offense? We lost a tight end. We got new receivers in town. Our offensive line was intact. Our quarterback was intact. Our two great running backs are intact. It's like, okay, I felt like, we were all ready for it. And that's when we were going to roll it out there. And we go out and we spent a lot of money on a defensive coordinator. Replacing some guys across, obviously some special players, but you had some great players coming back too on defense.
Yep.
So it's a lot of eggs in was in that, like, we're going to make our run this year for a national title. Now it's like, okay, so now we have the older team that now we need these guys to freaking regroup, because it can go off the rail quick right now. Now, be happy and I'm very, very happy that, it is UCLA and Northwestern the next 2 weeks.
Yep. The scheduling gods were very kind.
This was absolutely true. So I was talking last night on my players show, and is that, if this is post Ohio State and if we had lost to Ohio State, you got 6 days to get ready for Indiana.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So It's like, okay, let's get the tears out right now, get back on track versus UCLA out there. And there's nothing better than, to calm the noise a little bit. You're hearing it from home. You hear our players heard the boos from the crowd. James heard those boos.
Sure.
So the best thing we could possibly do is get on a plane and fly 3,000 miles away to play the next game.
I could not agree with you more.
Very, very, very inferior opponent.
Yep.
That it really. I mean, I don't want to say that, but it really shouldn't be a problem. But I hope it's not a problem. But it's the best thing to do is get back on as fast as we can. So. You talk about a short week for these guys. I mean, these guys were in bed at, 2 a.m. on Saturday probably.
Yep, that's what time I got to bed.
Up football, they're back in the football building at 1 o'clock in the afternoon and already preparing. And they're leaving Thursday at midday to go out to California.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's like, okay, let's circle the wagons. Let's help each other out mentally, physically, all of this stuff, and coaches and players alike. And get on a plane and go, let's go have a nice long road trip. And, could be a bonding thing. I mean, what are you seeing? The thing I'm comparing it to was like, the 2016 team. Remember that Michigan game when it was just so bad? It was just like people were calling for Franklin to, get fired then.
Yep.
And then we had that Minnesota game that we won in overtime with Saquon hitting that long run to end the game, I remember like it was yesterday. And then we went on that run, in that 2016 Big Ten run. I just have a lot. This is what we're going to need the leadership to have that type of situation happen with this team right now. Because a lot of guys are getting looked. I mean, we have a lot of leaders on this team. I hope we have some great leaders who are going to, these guys are going to follow because, we can sugarcoat it all we want. There's a lot to play for. Obviously, there's a ton to play for. We all know that. But it is tough at this point right now. But the faster you get this behind you, the better. Where I'll ask you, I'm a huge proponent of this 1-0 mentality when it comes to winning. But I'm not a really super huge proponent of it in certain aspects of losing. And that is that I'm a big believer in you can learn a lot from a loss. You learn more from a loss than you do from a win. So to sit there and say 1-0, okay, that was yesterday, win or lose, that was yesterday, it's over with, we don't talk about it. I think we need to talk about it. I think the team needs to, and the coaches need to talk about it and get on the same page together about it, and then not just say, okay, that's over. It's not. I mean, obviously they're done talking about it right now. They're full blown UCLA as of today. As of Sunday night when they had their last meeting and stuff like that, they had Monday off. We're on UCLA already. We know that, but I hope that there was more talk than normal about that past game that we just had against Oregon to learn from. Because there's a lot we can learn from it. A lot of guys can learn a lot of things from that. Coaches, players, everybody from top to bottom.
Yeah, there's a lot that we can get into and will get into over the course of the program. There's a few things, just, big picture stuff. All right. Now that it played out the way it did, and obviously nobody, players, coaches, fans, wanted to see that thing play out the way it did on Saturday night. But now the program is where it's at. The reputation is what it is. And again, right now you just have to eat it. But a couple of things that I think you can draw from if you are in that locker room right now and you're feeling, again, in the moment, which is what we talked about leading up to the game. Like, if you lose this, the reality is everything you want to play for is still in front of you. The reason you came back to win a national title, that is still in front of you.
Yep.
It just feels, I said last week, it is going to feel like that is a Herculean task, that it's going to feel like that's impossible, because it's hard to imagine a team losing in the whiteout game to Oregon and then going on the road and winning in Columbus. And it draws into question with the way Indiana's offense is playing. I know we can get into that game too, but Indiana is looking like a contender to whatever degree you want to ascribe
that's our next conversation, and that is that we're almost talking about Ohio State being a must-win. Hear me out here. That is, I don't think Penn State gets in with 2 losses. Whether that loss is to Indiana or Ohio State, it's scary because of the non-conference schedule is going to come back to bite us in the butt.
Yeah, so there's a couple of things about that. A lot
of things got to go. SEC schools can get upset here and there,
and I think will.
Yeah.
So this is.
It's a long season to go.
Yes. And so just a couple of points that I would think James Franklin and the players would be making to themselves this week is, again, that was a devastating loss. Just an emotional, gut-wrenching blow to the gut. To have 3 quarters as inept as what Penn State was offensively, but then to stage that furious comeback and then to have the rug pulled out of you again, or Lucy pulling the football away again, which I think is an apt analogy. The disappointment is hard to truly quantify. It's just devastating. But Notre Dame fans, I dare say last year when Northern Illinois won in South Bend, if you had told any Notre Dame fan that night, hey, it's going to be okay, we're going to play for the national title here at the end of the season, I think 90% plus of Fighting Irish fans that night would be like, right, Marcus Freeman just lost to, are you kidding me? We're going to find a way to get to the national championship game. Well, they did. Ohio State, obviously, last year lost to Oregon, albeit, again, on the road, and I think at least on paper, people thought that was a better Oregon team, although more on that as the show unfolds. But they then also lose. I mean, you talk about, you think that loss Saturday night was devastating, and it was, and I'm with you. I'm not saying, nope, that wasn't that devastating, Ironhead. It was. And in every way. But early in the season still, we're not out of September yet. And as you said, a long way to go, a lot of things that can still happen. Ohio State lost every bit as consequential a game, if not more, right? I mean, it is their rival. They are clearly the better team. It is a game they have to have, and they lose it. And they turn around and win the national championship. So all of that to say that, yeah, it is still all in front of them. Now, I get it, and I've heard it. Right, Ironhead. James Franklin is going to turn around and just win big game after big game. Okay, buddy. Drew Aller's just going to come up big in the big moments the rest of the year. I get it. The track record is what it is. I will also say, Caleb DeBoer, if you want to go to a more closer moment, you think Alabama fans were all fired up for the Georgia game? It's like, well, no, we've seen Caleb, and I get it. Much smaller, we're still early in his tenure. I understand all of that. I'm just telling you, the pressure was about as great as you could have it on Caleb DeBoer and that Alabama program, and lo and behold, they responded. Also, so you do have, I mean, there are plenty of examples, pretty recent examples that you can use. It's like, yep, that was bad. That was devastating. And also, now you can go win a national title. I understand those of you that are saying, no, they can't, because it is this coach this program, this quarterback. That's fine. You can believe that right now. And I will say, it's not like I'm going to be out there predicting Penn State's going to romp in Columbus. First of all, nobody ever romps in Columbus. That is probably as tough. I would say it is the toughest place. I don't know what the overall record is, but I can't imagine that there has been a home team with a better record over the last couple of decades than Ohio State in Columbus. People don't go into Columbus
specifically
and
in
win.
big games, too.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, they have been just
what's different?
Remarkable.
Let's talk about that. What the hell makes that place different than State? I mean, hat is off to Oregon for how they came in here and handled that crowd.
I do want to get into that.
They had never seen or heard or anything like that. They've only been told about what the whiteout was going to be. And I think that Lannon had those guys that they were loose. They really were loose.
And they acknowledged that it was everything as advertised and then some. That they acknowledged that crowd was phenomenal. I have a little different take too.
Fingers at the end, or was that when you never?
Yeah, you know what? I listen. If you don't think the fans were giving it to those players throughout the game,
that's a whole other conversation right now, Jeff.
Yep. Go ahead.
You're talking to people now who are like, well, the minute these kids sign those NIL contracts, they're no longer kids, because everybody's like, you can't pick on, lay off of Aller. He's a college kid, he's a student, and then now there's a lot of people who are like, no, the kid makes a lot of money, is paid a lot of money, he should be able to handle this. You got to go to bed, and there's people out there who believe in that. I can see it. I understand what they're saying, and the point of what they're saying is, but again, he still is only a 21-year-old kid. I know that he makes a lot of money, and a lot of our kids make a lot of money, and they're still young. But where is that line? Now that they're being paid the NIL money, where is that line? Where is like lay off of those guys? They're young, or hey, these guys are professionals now. I mean, they're professionals.
I think there are people that feel justified. I maybe just old school thinking. I don't think, well, first of all, even a professional athlete, like if you're sending any kind of threatening note to any human being for an athletic performance, and I am deadly serious here, you need to seek psychological help. If your life is such that you think, and again, this is the highest paid professional athlete, if you think your time should be spent writing a threatening note to any individual, and for that matter, I mean,
anybody.
I think you got to question your life if you're just writing a demeaning note to anybody, even if it's not threatening. If it's just, hey, you really suck. Okay. I mean, do you think Drew Aller's sitting around after that game just say, man, I am the guy. I just wonder if anybody is disappointed in the performance tonight. I mean, come on. Like you really think your role in society is, you know what? I got to let this kid who is devastated as it is, I got to let him know that I also think he was really bad in that moment. I think you ought to just keep to yourself as a fan. The old, if you don't have anything nice to say, just shut up. Is that the way I might be paraphrasing there? But if it's going to the extent of threats, and that has happened fairly frequently over the years, read some of the stuff that Sam Ficken got after that Virginia game. Wow. I mean, really, like you need help. Like you can't be, because you've got to find a bigger purpose with your life than trying to live vicariously through a college kid or a professional athlete. Just some helpful hints here from your old pal Ironhead. That being said, again, can you be critical? Can you wonder whether this will ever happen the way it was envisioned, and be very doubtful of that? Of course. And I don't like the booing myself, but I get it. And with the money that folks are paying and being asked to contribute, and then you're watching that offensive performance for 3 quarters. I mean, I can understand the frustration. I can understand, hey, I feel like I need to express a little something here. To me, the booing is a little different than the personal, we're going to write a sign in our dorm room letting Aller know that he sucks. Or if, again, you're taking the time to email or write a letter to somebody, ugh. I mean, come on. But again, it's a free society. You can certainly, I guess, do what you want to that degree. But if you are Drew Aller, James Franklin, that Penn State program, again, your options now are, all right, let's just fold it in. Yep, everybody's right. We can't win the big one. Let's call it a day. Pack it in for the season.
Pack it up.
Or what seems like the more likely route, let's see if we can, in fact, figure this thing out. And maybe they can, maybe they can't. Right now, I will grant you there's a lot of evidence that they can't. And I understand the sentiment that says this will never happen. And again, maybe it won't. But inside that locker room, they better be telling themselves it can and talking about how it is that they can solve the several issues that I think now this program has. And number one is I do think it's a psychological thing now. I don't think there's much question about that.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be
James
difficult to overcome.
James has said it's not out there. It's a fact. The record is there.
Yep.
The numbers are there. So I know what he's talking about, and I know he does too. And again, I've been saying it for 2 or 3 days now since it happened, since the game, and that is no one's more frustrated than the players and coaches. I mean, you don't think these guys woke up and like, okay, game's over, we're done, we're going to move on to the next game. I don't care about this. And yes, there was a lot. They invested a lot of time and effort and money into this season. So, and I don't think they're going to let it go. I think that they're too well led and an elder team, and there's so much more to play for because look at what happened to all those teams last year. Yeah.
So a couple of things on Saturday night. One, when you look at the Oregon team, I think a lot of people presumed while they were good last year and good this year, that if you did the side-by-side comparison, last year's team was the better team, the more talented team. Again, I know, I mean, we saw them in person one game, very small sample size. Goon, I got to tell you, I think they are better. They lost a lot on that offensive line, and that's where I thought Penn State might be able to really exploit some things on Saturday night.
And we'll talk about when we get back. We could talk about the holding and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I want to get into that.
Yep, they were remarkably well disciplined, and they were fast. Yeah. I mean, they were just faster at all levels than Penn State was. So I do want to pick up on that part of it when we come back, and we will continue. It is the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show here on Sports Radio 98.7 The Fox.
No one likes making trips to the gas station. Well, Lion Country Kia can help. If you're tired of going to the gas station all the time, Lion Country Kia can help with the 2025 Kia Sportage Hybrid. Save now with 2.9% APR financing for up to 48 months. And get $500 Kia Finance bonus cash. There's 14 available that get 38 MPG combined. Say goodbye to all those pump visits. 2025 Kia Sportage Hybrids start at just $32,285. And be sure to check out the full Kia lineup too. And their selection of certified pre-owned Kias. Remember, every new Kia comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Ease that pain at the pump with a 38 MPG combined 2025 Kia Sportage Hybrid from Lion Country Kia, 1334 Drivable Street off Shiloh Road behind Sam's Club, State College.
Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. For details, see dealer or go to kia.com.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things. Great times, great food. Get to Quaker Steak Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food. Get to Quaker Steak Lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter, and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Hi, welcome to Timberland Federal Credit Union, a financial cooperative for its members, tracing all the way back to 1973.
Experience Timberland Federal Credit Union, where you're greeted with a smile and financial solutions are tailored to your unique life journey. Here, we're not just financial professionals, we're your neighbors, people invested in your financial needs, literacy, and empowerment. Your dreams matter to us, whether they're about buying a home, growing a nest egg, or embarking on new adventures. TFCU draws from the past and invests in the future, offering modern tools like online banking to give you the freedom to manage your money practically anytime. Additionally, we're passionate about giving back both time and resources because enhancing our community is at the core of why we're here. Visit TFCU in person or online to learn more about our services and apply for a membership today.
WFXX, once again.
Your sports radio!
Broadcasting live, loud and proud from Central PA's Sports Authority, WFXS America.
98.7 The Fox, State College, the Goon and Ironhead.
And the dear Goon will be back with us momentarily, but just wanted to pick up on a couple of things from the game on Saturday night and the perception versus the reality. And again, there's several different directions we'll go and get into over the course of this afternoon show. I do want to get into, just from the football component of it, it does feel sometimes like Penn State is chasing its own tail. We are always looking, it feels to me, like, man, we've got to go, the current coordinator we have isn't getting the job done. We've got to go find the next hot commodity. Mike Yursich was supposed to be, he was a hot commodity. Came in, didn't work. Andy Kotelnicki, hot commodity, and a lot of people Saturday night, well, we've got to find a real offensive coordinator. This isn't getting the job done. I've heard a lot of, boy, it was just such a vanilla offense. I think you got to go back and there was a lot of motion. I mean, it wasn't effective. I'm not arguing that, but I don't think it was quite as vanilla as what people are making it out to be. I think there were a lot of attempts to get a lot of different things going, and I think it was a lot more about execution and not getting the job done. I mean, a lot, of course, rightfully being made of the lack of production on first and second down. And listen, part of it is your offensive line. This is expected to be, right? I mean, we've been touting it. And I think, at least right now, incorrectly, is the best offensive line at Penn State since the 94 team. And I think there's some different reasons for it, not the least of which is I think Oregon's defensive line is outstanding. But this offensive line is not through 4 games of this season, living up to the billing and the expectations. Now, whether or not it's just, that they're struggling figuring out how to still mesh together with the combinations that they have, which are a little different from last year. But I mean, again, most of these guys were here last year, knew how to work effectively together at the end of last season. And it's perplexing to see that unit struggle as much as it has. Now, that being said, Drew Aller, go back to the first drive. He has Luke Reynolds open in the middle of the field. What I wanted to see as the first play of the game was the third play from the line of scrimmage for Penn State, if I'm remembering correctly, and I might be a playoff. I think it was the third down play that was batted down at the line of scrimmage. Well, I mean, Reynolds was open, and Aller had time. You got to make the throw over the lineman. And the best quarterbacks have balls batted down. So that isn't in and of itself an indictment on Drew Aller. I also think Aller delivered a couple of balls that were very catchable. Luke Reynolds had one. Not an easy catch. Not saying it was a perfect throw, but man, you're in a big game, a big spot. You need big-time players to step up and help you out as well. There were a couple of instances on Saturday night where they didn't have players helping Drew out, making big-time plays. I thought Penn State did a nice job trying to mix things up, maybe too much so. Once the tempo game is showing itself to not be effective, I think maybe go ahead and put that in the hip pocket and bring it out for another day and another opponent. It just seemed like every time they tried to go tempo, they messed themselves up more than Oregon. And I don't mind them trying it, obviously. I think it's a good tactic normally. But again, once it's showing to not be effective, and it seems for whatever reason that night it was just throwing Penn State's guys off more than it was helping Penn State or causing any confusion or problems for Oregon. Again, to me, all right, put that away. Let's just go run our regular offense and see if we can get productive with that. Now, they weren't productive when they weren't going with the tempo either. So, you can't throw everything out, and I understand that. But, to me, maybe just say, all right, let's just do our normal, take our time, figure this out, make sure we have our assignments. So, again, to me, maybe there's some plays here and there that you can be critical of on the play calling. I just thought overall, Goon, that I didn't really have nearly as much problem with the play calling as some seem to. I thought we were doing, we being Penn State, the coaching staff, was doing a lot more with misdirection and trying to get different looks in there. I just think Oregon was somewhat surprisingly and extremely well-disciplined on both sides of the ball. But that defense, Goon, I mean, they more than held their own, certainly at the line of scrimmage. And I think Penn State did do a lot to try to confuse, to take them off of their game. And they're just like, nope, we're rock steady. Whatever you throw at us, we know our assignments, and here we come.
Yeah, I think that the speed of the Oregon defense was, the misdirection was working. It seemed to have worked well, but then I go back to, they were ready for this game. I mean, they were really big time. Like they were ready for every aspect of that game. And it just blows my mind to think about it because of what they did travel wise. It just blows my mind. I mean, they came in here, landed on Friday night. I mean, I don't know. Did they even drive to the stadium to get to Altoona? I guess they had to come by the stadium and get a look at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then they drove to Altoona, and then they came in on game day traffic-wise, and then it was like the first time they went in the stadium was on game day, and they were ready to go. I mean, they've been in some big games before, but so have we, and it was our big game. They took our game 7 in NHL hockey analogy, and they turned our fan against us. But it was 3-3 at halftime. Our fans were very unhappy, and they were booing our players and stuff like that. And that does, trust me, that does register with the players, and it makes them very mad and upset because it's like, what do you want, this and that, you got to take the good with the bad, all that stuff. And you again, tip your hat to Oregon from top to bottom. I don't agree the way Lanning was acting a little bit during the week. Some of the chirps he had during the week in the game, post game, how the players reacted when they intercepted the ball, with giving the double bangers to the student section, and I said this on Sunday, Jeff, and I want your opinion. What if those kids came out of the crowd? We watched UVA storm the field Friday night. An absolute miracle. Nobody from Florida State was hurt.
Yeah,
with the amount of humanity that rushed that field. And there was guys fast on the field. They were laying on the field, and there's no way that somebody didn't trample on them. I mean, what would have stopped? And I said this Sunday, I think it was on, and that was, listen, I'm not a teetotaler. You know me and this and that. I mean, it's all about the fun with the crowd and this and that. But you're going to start provoking the wrong damn people. I mean, I'm watching the Florida State game against UVA. The guy made a great touchdown catch, he thought, which ended up turning it back. Yeah. But he went in the crowd and instantly did the whole shut up. That's the whole thing. You see it from the NFL. It's worked its way down in the high school. Shut up. Keep quiet, which is okay. This and that. But you know what? It starts to get a little bit too much when the fans start giving it back, and then the players, and then it gets. I'm telling you, Saturday night scared me after that game when I saw the players. What if the student section rushed that field? It's scary to even think about. But there should be some repercussions for that, but that's a whole nother story. But you got to respect how Lanning came in with that team across the country when everybody's talking about, having to travel across the country, how hard it is to do it, this and that. And I want to talk to you about this. I mean, is it easier to come east than it is to go to west? I mean, you're gaining hours versus losing hours, that type of thing. It's no one really knows. I don't know. I don't think so. I mean,
I don't think so either. Actually, I think it would be a little more difficult
coming east.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy to think about, but this is the stuff that they got in Friday night late, like later in 7, 8 o'clock at night. So that's what, 5 o'clock for them, and then
right. So you're kind of to me that's more difficult. Also, I mean, the weather wasn't a factor obviously this weekend, but generally. Speaking, right? You're going out west, you're getting nicer weather. It's like, okay, that's usually a nice thing for a team from the east. Whereas, certainly as we get into October and November, teams, making the trip from
no doubt
the west to Midwest.
I have 2 trips from Sparty that I remember as a player and a coach, and that was always Thanksgiving weekend. And it literally this is not a joke. I mean, it was at the time it was funny. We were kidding around. We were singing, Bye Bye American Pie, because that's the day the music died. And then about 20 minutes into the trip, none of us were saying that damn thing. We were all, it was scary. So that's all. But I will give Oregon a lot of credit, and specifically that defense, because we were trying a lot of different things, and they were getting a lot of pressure on Drew Aller with 3 and 4, sometimes 5. Constant pressure. He had a lot of pressure at him at almost. I think he had 5 passes that he was not pressured on. And that's way too much for an offensive line as experienced as ours, and supposedly as good as ours is.
And we just did not see a lot of push in the running game.
What did it remind you of? The old Saquon Barkley? It just seemed like we took the snap, paused, and then took the play instead of just hitting the play we have been in the last couple of years. It just seemed like that's what was going on this past weekend. It just seemed like it was slow motion in our offensive front. Running backs included. I mean, we did not run the ball well at all.
No.
And we didn't pass block well. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and say the game was on the offensive line, but we did say here Thursday afternoon, me, you, and Booch all agreed. I mean, this game was going to be determined in the trenches. And their D-line outplayed our offensive line, and then their O-line outplayed our defensive line. I mean, we had 0 sacks. Now, I want to talk about some of the holds. I mean, there were some blatantly bad hold calls, but
I just thought Oregon was really that offensive line just played a flawless game.
They were very grippy.
That's what the penalties would show.
But the way the Big Ten works in these big games, and that is always we have to learn that lesson.
Yeah,
and that is that they are not going to determine the game with the referees. They're not going to do it. They're going to let the play on the field determine the game. And if that means that we got to start ripping and holding a little bit more on the offensive line, let's do it, man. Because Sutton was getting held like ridiculously bad the other day.
It was,
and some of them
ridiculous.
like to the point where he was stopping play and just to jump around and very theatrical to me. But if this goes on the whole game, it does wear on you.
Yep.
The referee's probably saying, "All right, I'm watching." Okay, if you're watching, how the hell did you just miss that one? And it's just frustrating as a player and obviously as a fan watching it because such big things happen on some of those big plays. There was like, how did you not call that hold?
Yeah, I want to throw in if we are going to have instant replay, and we clearly are. I would be a fan of not having it. I am in the very, very small minority. I get it. So if we're going to keep it,
yep.
I know you can call holding on every play. Yep. Could we do this at least? Just I'm asking. Would it be possible? Is it conceivable that you allow each team
yes.
to
reviews?
Yes. I know it's not a reviewable offense right now. What I am asking is could you just I don't want to review every play. Like I don't want you to be able to challenge and then look and there was a hold on the interior, and so you keep your challenge and then the next play, hey, we think there was another hold, and I don't want that. Yep. But could you have one per half where the coach says, "Listen, that was so blatant
or
and
it was a huge play.
so ridiculous, correct that we have to." So you get one holding challenge per half. So that at least when you have, a big play and just a painfully obvious hold, because what always drives me crazy is the old, we have to have review plays, Ironhead, because we got to get it right. Well, we can't get it right here. We can't get it right there. But we got to get it right.
Can't challenge
that. If the goal is to get it right, allow one play and not just one play where you can challenge any doggone thing that is not permitted in the game. Hey, I want you to go back and look, and you tell me if you don't see a blatant hold where the guy has his arms around, he's got the jersey and his arms around him. Maybe we could call that, and it allowed the quarterback to get the ball off, or even you know what, we missed whatever the non-reviewable plays are, that just once per half, anything that is in the rule book that if you think you saw on the sideline, and maybe the penalty is if you're wrong, if we look at the review and we don't see what you're saying, you lose, either a delay a game or you lose another of the other challenges, whatever. Figure that out. But if the goal is we got to get it right, and listen, I get it. If you use it early, then you have another blatant hold later. It's still going to be frustrating. I'm not saying it's the cure-all, but could we? It seems to me that if we have the ability to go back and get it right, and again, I get it. Every play you can probably go back, and if you're looking at the minutia, all right, well, this was not right here. That guy did have his toe on the line and then came back in bounds. I get it. We don't want to spend 2 minutes on every play making sure we got every call exactly right. But maybe a challenge.
Well, there's a couple out there. There was some big plays on third downs and longs, and they converted them on like the guys were getting held pretty bad. So I do want to say this. USFL had that, didn't they, this year? I saw a couple games I watched this year. There was a touchdown play on like a quarterback draw, and the nose guard, it was pretty blatantly getting pulled down. And then there was no call, and then the coach said, I want to challenge that, and they went and reviewed the play and said there was a holding there, moved them back. I don't know if they called a hold because they didn't call it during the play, but they didn't give them the touchdown. Maybe they reviewed the play and redid the play, or they actually made it call a hold. I don't know, but there actually is there is a league, the USFL, who the NFL does a lot of their testing of what they want to try to do in the future with rules. That it was part of their stuff this year, and I'm with you. You get one review of a penalty. I mean, let's talk about the tush push. That seems to be the talk of the day in the NFL.
Yep.
2 weeks ago, you watched that right guard. He went offsides twice. So that's a play that the Kansas City Chiefs or whoever they were playing could say, hey, you know what? I want to review on that play and say, okay, no touchdown. You're moving back 5 yards, and because you had the correct call, you save your. You should be able to save your review.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know what
play.
the answer is, because I don't want you to keep the review and if you 5 plays in a row. Yep, there was a hold there. I don't want it to be that. Yeah, but I want something.
The coach has to realize that's okay. This is a huge play in this game. You can't just say, okay, that was a hold. Let's push him back farther. No, it's got to be a play that has some. Because you don't want to just use it.
Yeah.
You want to use it. Well, there was a third down play there when they converted it on a longer play, just a brutal. And then the blade of glass, I mean, that might go down as the magic bullet theory in state college history.
Yep. Yeah, I don't.
I mean, what do you need? What do you need? And then and the same effect, what do you need to know that it was targeting late in the game on Penn State? That was the definition of targeting.
Yeah, the helmet-to-helmet thing. I mean, saying I don't. Yeah, some of these rules. And listen, I don't like the targeting thing. I guess it's always going to be a judgmental call. But when you're trying to get low, I don't think there was any intent there. Like the player, I do think there have been situations where they're clearly at least look to be intent. Again,
Correct.
You can't, I understand you can't actually get in somebody's head and all of that. But to me, if the player, you're trying to get low, this guy's going down, it is bang, bang. You're trying to get your head down. Well, if his head's there, so I don't like the way I like trying to get rid of the helmet-to-helmet contact, and I understand what they're trying to do, and I'm in favor of it. I just don't think this is, especially where the punishment is you're sitting out a game. It's I'm playing, I'm doing everything I can.
Especially when the
every now and then, yes, helmets are going to hit.
If it's a defenseless receiver, I can see that. But if it's a guy who's going down to the ground and you're trying to make a tackle, and what are you supposed to do?
That being said, with the rule being the way it is now, I'm still not sure. I listened to the explanation, and I guess I understand it as far as it goes. It sure looked like still the crowd of the helmet. I guess I don't know. I watching it even after having it explained, I'm like, I'm glad it wasn't called, obviously, and I don't think there was any intent whatsoever there. But with the rule the way it is, I'm not sure I understand the call there either. A couple of things on I just want to delve into this a little bit, because I do think it's interesting when you take the big picture perspective. So there are folks, and I think it's a growing number now, that, all right, we got to move on from James Franklin. We got to get rid of him. So let's just go down the hypothetical road here for a moment. I think there's zero chance that he's being fired unless things completely collapse this season, which, I'm not going to say is not within the realm of possibility, but I, like you, think there's enough leadership on this team. I think they know, at least at the moment now, and presumably through the Northwestern game, that all of the objectives at the start of the season, perhaps short of having an undefeated season, which may have been one of the goals, but short of that, all of the important objectives are still there for the taking for this team this year. But let's just play the hypothetical out. All right, you got to get rid of James Franklin. Got to bring in the guy that, man, he's going to lead us. Well, let's look at that for a moment, because there are 3 coaches out there, and let's just, again, I want to play the hypothetical. Yep, Penn State, let's just pretend for the moment that they will spend the resources, do whatever it takes. They can get literally anybody they want. Well, Ironhead, there's only 3 coaches that have won national titles. Penn State's got to go get one of those guys. All right. Kirby Smart has won, not 1, 2 national titles at Georgia. Yeah, Ironhead, we got to get Kirby. Because, James Franklin's problem is he can't beat Ohio State. Kirby Smart, kiddos, if you've not been paying attention, and Georgia fans have, they are ready to run him out of town because he is 1-7 against their biggest rival, Alabama. And they lost again, upset fashion, at home. Sound familiar? On Saturday night. Huh. No, Kirby Smart would solve all the problems with Penn State. Yeah, but he just did what you now want to get rid of Franklin for. Lost as a favorite. And they, by the way, were a heavier favorite.
There's only 3 coaches who have national titles.
3 active coaches
I know who they are.
In the college ranks right now.
I know who they are, but God, that's
yes. Now, I mean, could that could change, but right now, yes,
wow.
there's only 3 active coaches.
I'm more flabbergasted by that.
Yes. So and again, there's some reasons for that.
Kirby's on the hot seat because he can't beat Alabama.
So I don't know that he's actually on the hot seat, but there are people that are very, very upset. Much as James Franklin's only beaten Ohio State. Well, Kirby Smart's only beaten Alabama. Now, again, they do have 2 national titles. I get it, but if you're looking for the definitive, by God, we're not going to lose. Okay, and Kirby Smart's your answer. And by the way, don't misread. I am here to tell you, I think Kirby Smart is a fantastic coach, and I think any program would be very, very lucky to have him.
Well, let's put the numbers together now. They get to buy out James for $54 million.
Well, again, I'm throwing that stuff out the window. I'm saying let's just say Penn State has decided, by God, we got to listen to these couch potatoes because, boy, they really know their football, and they're telling us we got to get rid of Franklin. Now, I'm just playing the hypothetical game here. Okay. Do you really want Kirby Smart, who's 1-7 against their big opponent? And the biggest knock against James Franklin is, we're not beating Ohio State. Okay. Just throwing that out there. Dabo Swinney has won 2 national titles at Clemson. Well, have you looked at what the Tigers have done over the last 3 years? And I would argue this is largely self-inflicted pain in that Dabo Swinney was very slow and is still very reluctant to play the transfer portal game. Again, I think James Franklin has shown you don't need to go hog wild in the transfer portal, and that is not the end-all, be-all, cure-all. But you got to play the game.
Yeah.
And to announce to the world that, no, we are out. We are definitely not going to be part of what everybody else in college football is doing to adjust and tweak and improve their roster. Okay, well, how's that working out? So, I mean, I don't think there are many now that would look. And I think Dabo Swinney, by the way, is a terrific coach. I really do. And if you're looking, though, for the, this is the guy that clearly is going to be superior to James Franklin. Are you looking at the records the last 3 years? What have you done for me lately? Well, Franklin's not winning the big one. Well, Dabo hasn't had a chance to play.
I mean, just the fact that Dabo does not want to dip his foot in the transfer portal thing is enough for me to say no.
And Ryan Day, the other coach, current active college coach who has won a national title. Well, what are they? I mean, there's a group that winning the national title wasn't enough because he cannot beat Michigan, cannot beat their biggest rival over the last 3 years. Well, so my point is, I mean, Dabo Swinney feels like that is not a hire at the moment that would get you super excited. Despite the 2 national titles, the track record the last 3 years, and that thing is not trending in the right direction this season. again, Kirby Smart, I think people would be excited about. And again, I'm just playing. I understand. Neither of those are happening. And Ryan Day's not leaving Ohio State, not following Jim Knowles. I understand that. I'm just playing the hypothetical game. If we just lived in that world where Penn State could and would fire James Franklin and bring in the coach. Well, there's 3 current that have won national titles. I think we have significant questions, right, surrounding all 3. So, where are you going? Well, Dan Lanning, Ironhead, that's okay. Well, this thing is ultimately about the postseason, right? Well, did you see what Oregon did as the 1 seed? And by the way, again, I think all of these guys are great coaches. So that is not where I'm going with this, is that, well, Penn State has James Franklin and he's better than anybody. No, not what I'm saying. I'm saying there are a lot of really good coaches, and it is really hard to win consistently in this era, in any era, but especially in this era of college football. We'll see what this season brings for Oregon, but they've been down this road of, man, we're looking great in the regular season. And then again, how did that finish up last year? Now, small sample size here in terms of at Oregon and all of that. And yeah, I mean, Lanning, I think, again, is a very good coach. I think he had his team more than ready to meet the moment on Saturday night. And I do want to harken back at some point here to the emotions from that game on Saturday night. But again, Dan Lanning, great coach, has not been really close to winning a national title. When it went in as the 1 seed and ousted, right out of the gate last season. So, again, Lanning, people might be excited about. And again, he's not leaving Oregon. I'm just playing the game here. So are you Kurt Signetti, Ironhead? Man, that's our guy.
Not a young man.
A couple of things about that. Yes, not a young man. Let's see how the rest of this season plays out. I will say beyond impressive what he has done at every step along the way. I mean, I do think the guy knows how to coach and how to get his team to play the way he wants them to play at a very high level, very consistently. I mean, again, the track record speaks for itself. But do you really have confidence that Kurt Signetti is going to man, if you got him in here, Ironhead, they would win the national title. They'd be in the Final Four every year, because that's pretty much what we're dinging James Franklin for. Well, he's winning all of these games, but he's not winning the big matchups. Let's watch how Indiana finishes out this season. Let's watch how Penn State finishes out this season. Signetti is one of the guys that I would say, at least at the moment, you might, again, if we just pretend that Penn State would be able to hire anybody it wants and they would come, I would say Signetti might be one of the very few that's like, well, that might be intriguing, and maybe that would work
more
out.
Money than us in NIL?
What's that?
I think that Indiana has more money than us in the NIL. They've invested more.
I don't know. I think it depends how you. I think there's games that are played with that stuff. I think it's very hard to get true, accurate information on what's going to.
Somebody's saying, "Oh, he doesn't make it."
Individual players. They are certainly very much in the NIL.
They're not happy
game.
with the basketball coach. So all that money's going to the football program now.
Yep. So, but again, so. At the end of the day, my point is, I'm not sure. Fans are always looking for the greener pastures. Right. See my earlier comments about the offensive coordinator at Penn State. Well, sometimes you have a really good person, a really good coach in the position, and it's not working out. I would argue that overall it is still working out. And I do want to pick up on that on the other side, because I did think there was some interesting national discussions going on. Heather Dinich and Paul Feinbaum were talking about this a little bit on Sunday morning, which is, and actually Dan Patrick was talking about it, is being really good, really consistently good enough for Penn State. And I want to pick up on that on the other side, because I think there's a couple of different components to that are worth exploring and discussing. And we will do so on the other side of this timeout. You are listening to the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show here on Sports Radio 98.7 The Fox.
No one likes making trips to the gas station. Well, Lion Country Kia can help. If you're tired of going to the gas station all the time, Lion Country Kia can help with the 2025 Kia Sportage Hybrid. Save now with 2.9% APR financing for up to 48 months. And get $500 Kia Finance bonus cash. There's 14 available that get 38 MPG combined. Say goodbye to all those pump visits. 2025 Kia Sportage Hybrids start at just $32,285. And be sure to check out the full Kia lineup too. And their selection of certified pre-owned Kias. Remember, every new Kia comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Ease that pain at the pump with a 38 MPG combined 2025 Kia Sportage Hybrid from Lion Country Kia, 1334 Drivable Street off Shiloh Road behind Sam's Club, State College.
Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. For details, see dealer or go to kia.com.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things. Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA, signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter, and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Hi, welcome to Timberland Federal Credit Union, a financial cooperative for its members, tracing all the way back to 1973.
Experience Timberland Federal Credit Union, where you're greeted with a smile and financial solutions are tailored to your unique life journey. Here, we're not just financial professionals, we're your neighbors, people invested in your financial needs, literacy, and empowerment. Your dreams matter to us, whether they're about buying a home, growing a nest egg, or embarking on new adventures. TFCU draws from the past and invests in the future, offering modern tools like online banking to give you the freedom to manage your money practically anytime. Additionally, we're passionate about giving back both time and resources because enhancing our community is at the core of why we're here. Visit TFCU in person or online to learn more about our services and apply for a membership today.
WFXS, once again, The Fox, your sports radio.
Broadcasting live, loud and proud from Central PA's Sports Authority, WFXS America.
98.7, The Fox, State College, the Goon and Ironhead.
And we are back here on a Tuesday afternoon. Oh, the sun is out. How could that be? Penn State lost the whiteout game to Oregon, but it is still out nonetheless. All right, so I do want to talk just a little bit here about the expectations and what folks are quote-unquote okay with as a fan base. So I went through over the weekend, and then I did not bring it with me, but I have, at the moment, I think there are, I think it was 23 programs that where I would say the expectation is from the fan base that, and and with their commitment to football, that man, we should be winning, if not national titles, a national title. Where it's like, hey, we have big name coach, or at least the coach that we think is the right fit. I mean, we have a good alumni base. We have the history, all of that. And now I'm going to try to go off the top of my head and I'm going to blow it. But in the Big Ten, certainly Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, Oregon, for sure, have that expectation. I would argue right now Indiana has that expectation, whether or not that's realistic, whether or not, but that I'm telling you, the mentality of that fan base and within that that locker room in Indiana now is, yep, we're going to win a national title here at some point. I think Nebraska, Ironhead, come on. I'm telling you, I think they brought Matt Rule with the idea that at some point here, we're going to win a national title. Far-fetched though that may seem right now, I think Washington has that expectation that at some point, again, I'm not saying this year, I'm saying that they are a program that believes they should go win a national title, and I think USC believes it should. Those are the 8 in the Big Ten that I think that they believe at some point here they should be winning a national title. Well, that's 8 from one conference. Again, there's one national title per season in the entire sport. So the likelihood that there will be more than 2 or 3 Big Ten teams, let's say over the next decade, is pretty small. So that's going to be a lot of disappointed fan bases. Did I mention Michigan in there? No, I'm not sure if I did. All right. So Michigan obviously would be in there if I didn't.
Good call.
Them. So in the SEC, I think pretty much every program, save Vanderbilt, and now who knows, with the way this thing is playing out, maybe you even throw Vanderbilt in there as, no, we think we should go win a national title. Yep. And listen, he is
Arkansas is bad.
He is dynamic.
Just fired Pittman.
Yeah, I mean,
there's a few out there. Mississippi State. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
But I think that fan base, even Mississippi State and even Arkansas, I think they believe they should be going out and competing for a national title. Now, maybe within the administration and with it's like, hey, if we can get to the playoffs, that'd be really cool. But so let's say safely at least 10 SEC programs believe they should be there. I would say there's probably at least 4, maybe 5 ACC programs that truly believe.
Miami, Clemson.
Yep. I think North Carolina, again, whether or not they, I think believes they should be. And then, I think TCU, I think there's a handful. So it's probably even more than what I said. It's probably 25 to 30 programs that feel like they should be competing for national titles. Obviously, Notre Dame in there as well. So, again, one team wins the national title each season. And so it is a really, really difficult thing to achieve. So then we get into this thing. Well, if and this was the discussion I've heard on a couple of different national forums is, well, James Franklin, if he was at a Florida or at a USC or certainly at an Alabama, he would have been fired. They don't put up with a 4-21 record against top 10 programs. Just doesn't happen. And okay, fair enough. And how many of those programs, Texas wouldn't put up with that? Yeah?
Yeah, right.
Are you sure? So this goes back to the whole chasing your tail thing. It's like, nope, we won't put up with that. We're going to fire our coach after 4 years. And then when that coach doesn't do it, we're going to fire him. Well, okay. Yeah, we don't put up with it. And you also don't win national titles, kids. So and look at the number of schools who, yep, we don't put up with quote unquote mediocrity, which is actually what they're not putting up with is good, but not elite football. See Nebraska. Excuse me. See a number of different programs. USC. Then again, USC. Listening to some of the Jed Donahue had on one of the beat reporters from out at USC before this season. He's like, just telling you need to keep an eye. We've got a lot more talent than what people realize. Lincoln's been building this thing. We're ready. Well, they just lost to a team that was coming off, and hats off to Illinois. And I think Illinois is a good team. I think that Indiana game got away from them and all that. But, I mean, come on. You're telling me USC is going to be a contender when they just lost to a team that lost the previous week 63-10. Well, USC won't put up with it. They're going to get rid of Lincoln Riley, and they may very well do that. And then the next coach is going to have, whoever it is, I suspect, a very hard time making headway in the Big Ten. Well, we're not going to put up with that. We get rid of him in 4 years. Okay, well, then it's a revolving door, and I get you're not putting up with it. Man, the expectation is national title, but you're not winning national titles. You're showing that not winning isn't good enough, and you're getting rid of guys every 4 to 6 years. Well, okay, but you're not actually any closer to winning the national title. I much prefer, although it causes great angst and frustration in the Penn State fan base, and I understand it as far as it goes. Again, James Franklin has had this program consistently, by the way, coming out of, just a brutal place, has had them consistently as a top 10 program. And if there had been the playoffs, and I get it, there weren't, and we can't play that game, but they'd be in the playoffs more often than not. And so it is similar to me to if you have, a tradition like Indiana or UCLA basketball, and now this coach is getting you into the NCAA tournament every year. You're getting to the Sweet 16 every other year, to the Elite Eight once every 4 years. But, dude, we're about national titles. Yes, the goal should be, and the objective clearly should be to win a national title. I guess my question is, do you really think by getting rid of James Franklin, man, we're going to show you guys we are serious about football here? And then I think it is more likely than not that you're going to be pursuing this idea of a national title for a long time to come. Maybe you catch magic in a bottle. Maybe you get the right coach. But again, there's 3 coaches, active coaches right now in college football who have won national titles. It is a really difficult thing to do. And you have a coach that actually seems to enjoy and thrive this environment of college athletics, which is another part of the deal here. I don't think Bill Belichick, I think the more he's around this, the less he is going to like college football, because it is a lot of nonsense that you have to put up with, including fans' expectations. And I think Belichick is probably, I know there's expectations obviously at the NFL as well. It's a little different when you're competing against 112, whatever it is. I don't even know what the number is anymore. College football programs. And again, you're facing these wildly different schedules and wildly different expectations, and now wildly different resources from, the NFL. You're at least pretty comparable there across the board. You're certainly not having the disparity that like a Penn State and a Northwestern are having, or an Ohio State and a Vanderbilt. I mean, there's not that type of disparity in terms of facilities or resources at the NFL level. And I think at the end of the day, I guess my point is, I'm not sure that you're actually going to get any closer if you're Penn State than you are. And I'm not saying you should be satisfied with it. I think it should be the should be pursuing, and the objective should be, man, we're going to go win a national title. And I think it's a great pursuit, and I think it's a great objective, and I think it's achievable at a place like Penn State. And I don't think there's a lot of places that it is achievable. But also, there's no guarantee that, again, if you brought in Kirby Smart, that, oh, by God, well, now we'll see the national titles roll in.
I got a question for you. Now, do you think he's pursued by another program?
Well, that is a good question. So by another program that would be on the same level, meaning historic stature, national prominence as Penn State, I don't now, because of the 4-21 record against top 10
Florida,
teams, like
Florida State, USC, UCLA.
Yeah, I mean, and listen,
programs.
maybe I'm wrong. Maybe
No,
if they bring him in with an interview, but I just like, if you're the Florida fan base or the USC fan base, or what are some of the Nebraska, if they all right, Matt Rule's not working out,
Arkansas,
yeah, or Michigan.
UCLA.
Like I mean, it
does that 4-21 turn them off and say, why are we going to invest this kind of money on a guy
it's
like that?
hard to imagine that the big money donors wouldn't be turned off from that, right?
Yeah, I'm with you.
I mean, James Franklin was a hot commodity when he came into Penn State because of what he had done at Vanderbilt. And he was Penn State was not the only school obviously interested in him. But yeah, I mean, the track record now, to me, makes it very unlikely that any of the top, I would go down to probably the top 20 programs, however you rank and decide those. But I don't think any of the top 20 programs,
obviously the big one people are talking about
would
is
look
Florida.
at him.
So let's just put it down. Let's just break down Florida. So Florida's going to come up with $54 million to pay Penn State to get him out of this contract.
Do you think the Florida fan base,
does that tickle the fan base of Florida enough to say, okay, we're committed now, let's go, here's my money, we're going to jump on board?
It's hard to imagine that, right?
Well,
I mean, and again,
Leprechaun just showed up.
I'm not saying they should or shouldn't be, to be clear, but I'm just saying I can't imagine, because it is all over the. It's not like it's a secret.
I'm with you.
Anywhere, everybody's talking about how James Franklin just doesn't win the big game. Well, I just, if you're Florida and, man, we got to get over the hump, you know who's going to do it is this guy that's 4-21 against top 25, against top 10 teams. He's going to get us a national title here at Florida. And again, I think if you're looking at a program that the objective is, man, would it be cool if we could get to the playoffs? Like we have not been, like Signetti is to Indiana, right? Like the expectation, again, I think it is changing there pretty quickly. But even 2 years ago, if I had told you, yeah, Indiana's all in on winning a national title in football, I mean, I think even Indiana folks would be like, winning a national title? No, it'd be really cool if we were in the playoffs, let alone back-to-back seasons of the playoffs. So, yeah, I mean, do I think there's schools out there and maybe that would be willing to invest heavily? Maybe, but I don't. It's hard to imagine. Again, one of the big-time programs, like historically big-time programs, doing that with the track record. And then it's hard for me to imagine a program that is trying to get to that next level being willing to make that type of investment with the idea that, yeah, we just want to become a playoff team. So
I'm with you, bud.
I just don't know that there's
so that's the conversation.
There are the options out there. And by the way, I know I'm in the very small minority here. I also get the track record, and it is until you change it, it is what it is. I mean, there's no. I'm not going to sit here and tell you no. That track record is actually, and again, this one hit differently to me than even the other, the 4-20, the other 20 losses against top 10 teams, because of the combination. So much talent returning, and therefore such high expectations. You felt going in like Penn State should have the advantage at quarterback, at the line of scrimmage, with the energy level because of the whiteout crowd. All of those things seem to be in Penn State's favor. And for just the 5th time in those 25 games against top 10 opponents, Penn State was actually favored to win the game. And so for all of those reasons, even the other 20 losses, and there were some devastating losses in there where they had the leads in the fourth quarter and all of that, substantial leads in the fourth quarter. I get it, and I'm not saying there aren't some head scratchers in that list. This one, to me, is by far, to me, the biggest head scratcher and the biggest disappointment to date.
I'm okay with it. Time to learn from it, move on.
Yep.
Now, with all this said, I mean, I just feel as if like it's just one of those things that there's no more pressure on these guys.
Well,
no more pressure on James. So let's just roll it out there and get out there, because I personally think we put a lot of pressure on ourselves, starting with James.
Well, so I do want to – did it not feel to you on Saturday night? Again, I'm watching Penn State was excited. I mean, I don't want to make it sound like they came out and they're like, oh, boy, here we go. But I was watching Oregon come out, and, man, were they loose doesn't even begin to describe it. Like you could see the smiles. They're like, yeah, let's hear it. Like they were feeding off that whiteout energy every bit as much as Penn State. And Dan Lanning had that team as ready to go. I am not nearly, I understand, and I'm not saying those that were offended and upset about it and lack of class and all of that. You're right. In terms at the end of the game with the double middle fingers and coming down to the end zone. Also, they were stoked and they matched Penn State's energy and then some. Like they overmatched Penn State on the energy level. And I just think when you're that jacked up, you're that juiced for a game, and then you see the way that thing plays out, I guess I'm more forgiving than most Penn State fans. I'm like, they're college kids. They're super jacked. Yeah, I mean, do I want to see it? No. Would I be upset if Penn State did that at somebody else's house? And, man, come on, you're Penn State. Yes. So, again, I'm not completely excusing it, but I guess it just didn't bother me nearly as much as it seems to have bothered a lot of people, because I think part of why they played at such a high level was they were on an emotional edge. They were keyed up from the get-go.
I'm remembering 1992 Miami coming into Penn State. Remember they put the speaker systems in, and we were all like chomping at the bit, ready to go. The whole world was all on. You know, there's 60 million watt speaker system going on before the game. We made Miami feel at home.
No question. They were dancing,
juking, all that stuff, and this and that. We put them in their environment that they liked, and it wasn't our environment. We played tight. It seemed like that game. They had fun. It seemed like Oregon was having fun out there. So let's go back to the crowd. The only fear I have is the crowd turns.
Yeah,
like
hopefully there's enough security
I can take
there.
3 or 4 kids out.
Yeah.
No, hopefully there's taking 400 guys. That's 4,000. But there's 20,000 kids coming out of that crowd. I mean, that's what scares me.
Yeah,
because you just don't know. I mean, there's just we're talking about fans and fanatics, and and it's just I just see it in the NFL. In the NFL, everybody does this, ooh, shush, shush, shush. That's fine and this and that. But then I saw Friday night, and it turned into, the players were jabbing with the crowd in the Florida State and Virginia game. And then I'm watching the Oregon guy come in, and they're doing the same thing to our crowd, and they're getting more and more crazy and more, build up and stuff like that. And I just don't want to see something bad happen.
No, I'm with you. And listen, we're seeing, more, they're throwing the football in the stands. We're seeing more bad fan behavior,
and disrespect out there.
And we're seeing more athletes interacting, I think, poorly with the fans. And yes.
And it starts up top. And it goes from the NFL and then from the head coaches on the way down.
And this
is control your guys.
And so this goes back, and this is the there's a fine line here because I do think sports should be fun. It is entertainment. It is fun. I think it should be more fun than what we had Saturday night. Personally, at the end of the day, it was not as fun as I thought it was going to be. But again, it is entertainment and it's fun. And so part of that fun is the celebrations. Being said, I do not think it is a coincidence that we're having more of these issues as we've had more of these celebrations. You don't like having it rubbed in your face as a fan, as an opponent. And even where the intent may not to do that, Joe Paterno, that just hand the ball to the official, act like you've been there before, and you get to the sideline. I think that did a lot of good on a lot of different fronts. But I do, again, it's entertainment. Fans are entertained by these celebrations. My kiddo, 10-year-old, the fantasy league, and it's just a for fun online fantasy league that he's in, but that you can, when your player scores a touchdown, you can hit this thing and they do a little animatronics celebration, and they have all kinds of different celebrations. There's one where the arms are going haywire, and there's others where they're flexing, but he wants to see, all right, Josh Allen just scored a touchdown for my team. What's the celebration? I'm like, that's just interesting to me. It's so I'm of two thoughts on this, because on one hand, if we just get back to the old days where it was a penalty, any excessive celebration was a penalty, it seems to me we did not have nearly as many problems. Maybe I'm misremembering that, but I don't think so. Yeah. Well, but also, again, I don't want to go back to the no fun league, where guys spiked a ball. No, we can't have
letting the players have fun with it, enjoy, do this to do that. But it's getting now to the point where we need to rein it back in a little bit. Yeah, that's just. But again, I believe it starts. You go watch a high school game, you'll start seeing guys. You'll start seeing high school kids are starting to act like the college kids, and the college kids act like the NFL kids, and it all works its way down.
Yeah.
And I'm not the old man sitting there saying, no, do this, and I just don't want to see anybody get hurt. I mean, I'm all about going out and then camaraderie and having a great time and fun time. There's nothing better than going into a Champaign, Illinois in 1994 and ruckus crowd and the great defense they had, and we shut them up. That was great. We were doing the whole shush, this and that, but I don't think any of us were, going into the crowd and, giving the double fingers and stuff like that. So there needs to be a little bit of respect in going involved there. And I think the Big Ten needs to jump in, the ACC, the SEC, as well as the NCAA need to step in and just get it under control a little bit better. It goes back to the whole, we allow, honest to God, anything these kids ask for nowadays, we're giving it to them. They want to have more fun out there. Okay, do whatever you want out there. They're kids. They're going to take it too far. It's going to go too far, and somebody's going to get hurt or in trouble.
And in the emotional times that we are in.
Oh, yes.
I mean, honestly, the last thing you want to see, I'm with you, is
Jeff,
something.
I still have people from Iowa tell me how much they hate Trace McSorley, because he punted that football after he knelt it down on the last play. They despise that kid because of that.
Again, it's so different. You're going to –
It's crazy.
You're going to get different reactions. Again, I mean, there are folks that are like beside themselves at the Oregon players, and I'm not telling you you're wrong. I'm just – I mean, I'm watching it in real time. I'm like, I kind of get it. Like that was a really emotional game, and part of the reason they won is Dan Lanning had them on an edge. I mean, they came out and they poured everything into it. And I will say the one thing I'm really curious to watch Oregon the rest of the season here, and including that Indiana game, because watching the emotion, and again, I'm not faulting them for this. I think they you're trying to win every game, right? Like the sports, you ought to be in it to win it. But watching the reaction, even when they got that 2-score lead, and maybe I'm reading too much into this. It felt to me like they were looking at this like a championship type of game. It's the end of September. It's a really big game. Again, I'm not trying to downplay the import of the loss for Penn State and the impact and the significance of it, but it's late September. Again, Penn State can still go out and win a national title, at least theoretically, and Oregon could still fall apart. I don't think I think it's unlikely either of those are going to happen now. But I do want to see, I can't imagine Oregon is going to have many, if any, more games where they're going to have that type of emotional power from start to finish in a game.
Indiana
I think that's going to be
a crazy one.
Yep, that's going to be a really interesting game for a number of different reasons. There's a lot of matchups there that I'm looking forward to just seeing how they play out, the strategy and all of that. But I do wonder, as I was watching that thing, and even with the Oregon players running down to the student section, and again, I'm not trying to get too far ahead. Maybe Oregon will go on and win the national title, and it's like, Ironhead, man, you were just completely wrong. And I'll own up to it. Won't be the first time for sure. I'm generally wrong on reading college football teams.
They showed a lot of grit.
But they did. But I do wonder, when you look at last year and the playoffs and then that emotion, I'm just wondering if, again, this thing, to win a championship, you have to build up and then be playing your best football at the end of the season. I think it's hard to argue that Oregon did that last year. Pretty much impossible to argue that they did that last year. I want to see how this thing plays out. I'm just wondering if that wasn't the apex of what we're going to see from Oregon football this season. They looked really, really good. They look like a team that could go win the national championship this season. That quarterback will keep them in every game. They're not going to, when I say fall apart, they're not they're not going to go 8-4 or anything like that. And more with that offensive line and that quarterback, they are going to win a lot more games than they lose. And again, they could very well go on and win the national title. I am wondering now, though, if this is more of a, man, we're going to be really good in the regular season program, and the playoffs are where teams will make the adjustments and be able to match what's there from an emotional standpoint.
Interesting.
Way too early.
Yep.
Landing again. I'm basing this on last season and the reaction to one game in September, but it's just something I want to watch and see how it plays out, since we have to label all of the coaches with their shortcomings, because by God, that's what we do. We will take a break here, and we are back with much more. It is the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show, the Tuesday after a whiteout loss on Sports Radio 98.
No one likes making trips to the gas station. Well, Lion Country Kia can help. If you're tired of going to the gas station all the time, Lion Country Kia can help with the 2025 Kia Sportage Hybrid. Save now with 2.9% APR financing for up to 48 months. And get $500 Kia Finance bonus cash. There's 14 available that get 38 MPG combined. Say goodbye to all those pump visits. 2025 Kia Sportage Hybrids start at just $32,285. And be sure to check out the full Kia lineup too. And their selection of certified pre-owned Kias. Remember, every new Kia comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Ease that pain at the pump with a 38 MPG combined 2025 Kia Sportage Hybrid from Lion Country Kia, 1334 Drivable Street off Shiloh Road behind Sam's Club, State College.
Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. For details, see dealer or go to kia.com.
If you love wings, if love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things. Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA, signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter, and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Hi, welcome to Timberland Federal Credit Union, a financial cooperative for its members, tracing all the way back to 1973.
Experience Timberland Federal Credit Union, where you're greeted with a smile and financial solutions are tailored to your unique life journey. Here, we're not just financial professionals, we're your neighbors. People invested in your financial needs, literacy, and empowerment. Your dreams matter to us, whether they're about buying a home, growing a nest egg, or embarking on new adventures. TFCU draws from the past and invests in the future, offering modern tools like online banking to give you the freedom to manage your money practically anytime. Additionally, we're passionate about giving back both time and resources because enhancing our community is at the core of why we're here. Visit TFCU in person or online to learn more about our services and apply for a membership today.
WFXS, once again, your sports radio.
Broadcasting live, loud and proud from Central PA's Sports Authority, WFXS America.
98.7, the Fox State College, the Goon and Ironhead.
And we are back here on a Tuesday afternoon as the Nittany Lions in rebound mode will make the trip to the Rose Bowl in Pasadena and take on UCLA this Saturday at 3:30. And again, for all of the disappointment, all of the talking points, and they're accurate talking points, and it is rightful disappointment. The fact is, everything Penn State wanted is in front of it. Now, the biggest thing to me, yes, Drew Aller in the big moments. Got to see if that can get turned around. Got to have some guys helping him out, making some big plays along the way. To me, the biggest question mark right now, for sure, though, from a football perspective, is can this offensive line and running game get anywhere near what we were expecting, Goon? I guess it is always dangerous to assume anything from one season to the next. Even, I go back to that probably way too often, but in 79, Penn State had ridiculously high expectations. Yes. They were coming off of that Sugar Bowl loss, and they had just about everybody of significance.
Well, let's make this
back.
Let's just talk about 95.
Well,
my senior year.
Yeah.
We went 9-3. We had everybody back. Quarterback.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, so, and sometimes, there were some indications, obviously, with Matt Millen and the summer there that maybe things weren't quite where they needed to be. I guess what is surprising to me, there were no indications. In fact, the indications were just the opposite. Going into this season, it felt like everybody was on the same page. Felt like everybody. We've talked about the leadership, the maturity. You have Dawkins there. You have kind of anchoring everything, and a guy that everybody seems to look up to and admire, and a guy that kind of bided his time in the program, worked his tail off, even when he wasn't the guy. He was supporting everybody and all of that. But then, I mean, just across the board, it felt like, yeah, this is an offensive line that is ready and raring to go. Everything's in place. You have 2 superstar running backs. And again, through 3 games, you're like, all right, it hasn't looked right, but maybe with the bye week, they get everybody back on the same page, and you expect there's going to be this energy boost as you come out into that whiteout crowd. And just right from the get-go, the offense just looked like it was out of sorts. Yeah. And again, there were indications there for sure through the first 3 games that this thing wasn't operating as smoothly as was anticipated. My question is, do you think it's just what do you think it is? Because the talent seems, it seems indisputable that there's talent there.
Yeah, what gets me again, and this has been the MO of the last 10 to 12 in the Franklin tenure, is that's coming out of bye weeks. We have talked. We've been on the show for 5 years. We've been talking about how slow and inconsistent we come out after bye weeks. So, I blame them. Are we guilty of wanting the best for our team and this and that? Yeah, obviously. But what indication did this team the first 3 games and going into a bye week? What was really, what was really done, or could we think was going to happen or change? I saw AQ Shipley was talking on social media, and you're not running for 300 plus yards on Villanova or FIU. I mean, there's you got some issues right now. That should have been, we should have been really, really working and honing in on that. And instead of just trying to go out and score 2,000 points in a 3-game preseason is what we would call it. But again, we have our expectations are very high for this team because of what they had returning, and also because what everybody was saying about them. I mean, it's not just us; it was the national pundits who were saying this is a top 5 team, a top 2 team, a national championship winning team. With the age and how well they're playing, how they're the amount of experience and returners they have. So that plays into a lot of the people's frustration. Obviously,
no doubt,
and our frustration. But again, we woke up, the sun came up, and it's just like last year. It's like, okay, it's not over yet. That's not over. Getting into the playoff is the key. I mean, look at Ohio State; they lost their last game of the year against their biggest rival, and they want to win the national title. I get it. It's probably a better team than we are right now. Last year's Ohio State team, that is, but. Still, it's still there. It's still going out to get there. I don't want to see a 1992 thing happen where, if guys are like, oh, well, we're not playing for a national title now, so we're just going to nail it in. I hope that's not the case. I hope that we are mature enough as a staff and as a team. I mean, we talk about how mature Doc is in the offensive line and, controlling that offensive line and having control of this team. That you do need your leaders to step up right now and, get this ship righted and just, keep the guys on board. I mean, just do what we do. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better opportunity right now than going to getting out of town and going out and playing UCLA.
I agree. I think the schedule it's perfect in that regard for exactly what Penn State needs right now.
Absolutely. It's like, a little home cooking for mommy, it's like, it's what they, get an away trip out there. You travel out there on a plane with 6 hours with the guys. That's a little camaraderie building right there. You go out to UCLA, play at the Rose Bowl. You smack them around a little bit. You come back, and you get ready to go up against Northwestern for your homecoming game. And let's get rid of the rock.
The offensive line, good. Do you have any sense though? I mean, it feels like they have regressed since last year. It felt like
they were. I said last night on my show. It just felt like. You have asked me, and I've told you many times how you can play offensive line at a million miles an hour if you know what you're doing. And it seems like there's some indecisiveness again. Like, remember 5-6 years ago when there was always that indecisiveness with our offensive line of who they were blocking. They were taking one step back to go one step forward. We weren't coming off the football. It just seemed like that was the case the other night. It just seemed like they were They weren't being outplayed as much as they just didn't seem like they weren't doing their job. They weren't, you know. I mean, maybe I'm overthinking it, thinking that they're not knowing what they're doing out there, and there's some kind of doubt going on out there that's causing that little pause. I mean, only a tenth of a second pause is a huge thing when you're going against a team like Oregon, who has a pretty explosive D line, and that was exposed to us the other night.
No doubt.
You know, our guys. You know, we just got, if you're going to make a mistake, do it at 1,000,000 miles an hour, and it just seemed like we went back a little bit, regressed a little bit. And the offensive line with, how we were coming off the ball and, coming off low hard and just, taking bodies, blocking man, blocking zone, and just going after it. And it just seemed that there was indecisiveness out there. And then indecisiveness amongst the offensive line causes that to the running backs, a delay from the running backs. And then, your indecisiveness on the pass blocking. And again, we had, Drew getting 19 pressures out of 23 passes. I mean, you can't have that. That's just way too many. And then, our defensive front, we got zero pressure. We hardly got any pressure on the quarterback. We have zero sacks.
And I think that was a combination of both their offensive line doing a great job. Oregon's offensive line was phenomenal. But also, Dante Moore just looked completely comfortable. And when there was any pressure, he's like, oh, yeah, I know it's coming, and boom, just delivered the ball where you needed to, quickly, decisively. It just felt like they were ready for the moment. And Penn State, which you thought going in, at least I thought, it had to be ready for the moment because, again, they performed well in the playoffs last year, even in the Notre Dame game. I mean, that was a good performance now, but you lose it. So you think, all right, there's going to be all this motivation now to get back. And, I had some people ask me, and I don't know. I mean, I'd like to think not, but it's like, well, is the money, did they become a little complacent? And I think it's a legitimate question. I mean, unfortunately, when you have the talent and a unit showing what it did last year, and you go back to that Big Ten championship game and the way they ran against, again, it's a different Oregon team and a different Penn State team, but some of the same components are there. And if anything, you thought that gap that was pretty clearly in Penn State's advantage as that game wore on last year, going into this thing, I'm like, it should be bigger. Now, there were some reservations and, yes, red flags, as we talked about through the first 3 games, but to go from having both backs run for over 100 yards and feel like you could
at any point
get what you needed at any point to that.
When we needed it, we did it. When we needed those 2 touchdowns late in the game, we had to get some yards. We got them. When we needed that overtime touchdown, we got it, and we ran the ball. And then, we come out in the second overtime. I mean, just think about, like, Drew Aller's, what's his resume going to look like? The Notre Dame game last year. You go back to the Notre Dame game. It was set up perfect. There was a tie ball game. We had the ball, getting about 30 yards of offense, kick a field goal. You're going down to Penn State history as a great quarter. It was one of the best ones, if not the best one. It's set up this past week. We come back and get the overtime. We come back in overtime, score twice. Or score once or whatever, and then stop them on a 2-point conversion.
Yep.
It is set up perfectly for us right there.
Yeah.
Score a touchdown, 2-point play.
Yeah.
Drew Aller is the absolute greatest player in the history of Penn State football.
Yep.
So he's had a couple
Everybody's
opportunities
pumped
to do that, and it has not happened. And again, there's no one more upset about this than him. It just seems that it's starting to warn him that he's thinking about it too much right now. And I said last night on my show, it's like that interception in the game was a hell of a play. Now, I don't know why.
No question.
It was weird that we're trying to force the ball into a short side of a field, like into his own coverage, and like trying to drop a pass in there. It's like when we just ran the ball down their throats to get to where we were right there, and then we're going to try and fancy it up here. Just I don't care how we win, just win.
Yeah.
Slug it out. again, that's just frustration on our parts and this and that.
Yeah, I mean, I think Reynolds is I mean, it's going to be a tough play. There's a defender coming up on him. No question. But if Reynolds is who we think he is, and it's a play that was there. If you get the ball up and over, I don't necessarily. I've seen a ton of people saying the same thing. It's like, man, just run the ball. Also, they had been trying to run, and I get it, what you're saying with the last couple of series, but also first down, they had not been getting much at all, and I think you're trying to not get yourself
loosen them up.
I didn't necessarily have a problem with the play call or even the read, and again, it's debatable. I've listened to different people that can break stuff down for sure better than I can. As I'm watching, I'm like, he's there, and it's going to be a tough play, but not, it wasn't like, oh my God, this is, you got to thread the ball perfectly, and we've never seen anybody in the history of football make a play. No, it was going to be a tough play, but again, experienced quarterback, talented tight end, it's like a play you can make and probably get, 8 yards or so on it if it hits anyway. But I mean, that's part of sports is you're going to be able to go back and second guess.
Absolutely.
That's part of the fun of it.
Steelers 3-1, bud.
Yeah, Steelers are 3-1. It feels they're atop the AFC North by themselves. The Bengals, I think it's safe to say, without Joe Burrow, are not going anywhere. And I think the Browns, while I still think they're going to be a dangerous team on any given week, I don't think they're I still think it comes down to the Steelers and the Ravens. I know the Ravens are 1-3. A lot of people writing them off. That they'll be right there at the end. They're 2 games behind with a long season to go, 13 games to go. They have too much talent on that team. There's some real questions there, no question.
I got to ask,
but
how tough was Sunday morning?
It was brutal. It was brutal. I did not get home. So I park in lot 44, which is down behind Medler Field, in the field down there. By the time, so I stick around for about a half hour after the game, just getting the stats and stuff in the press box, and I like just watching the scene. I don't go to the I've debated whether to go to the post-game press conferences, but I kind of like just watching the reaction, win, lose, indifferent, big game or not. I like watching
people,
the fans as they go out, the players, and when they're ringing the bell after a win, or just the interactions as they were walking off. I was watching Aller to see his reaction as he was walking off the field. I had the binoculars on him on Saturday night. So by the time I got to my car, of course, everything is completely jammed up. I did not get home until a little after 1:30. Didn't get to bed until a little after 2, and didn't get to sleep until close to 3. And then just I was up at about 5:30 because that's just the way our house is. And it's like, oh boy. I tried to get back to sleep. I don't know. I think I nodded off maybe for about 10 minutes there from around 6:30 to 6:45 or so. And then, it was rough. And we had some things going on. So I'm watching some of the Steelers game, listening to some of it. And boy, they tried. When they go up 24-6, I'm feeling the way Dan Lanning was when Oregon went up 17-3. It's like, it's over, baby. We did it. And then hanging on. But the Steelers get the win. And fortunately, in the NFL, the style points don't matter. It is about just whether you get the W or the L. And listen, I think the Steelers, I mean, it just feels like a very familiar script. I think they're going to be able to get off to at least a 4-2 start. I think 5-1 is very likely. And then I think they're going to have to kind of hang on. They'll get into the playoffs. Hopefully, maybe somehow win a playoff game this year, and then we'll go from there. But
Tom will be the coach next season.
Well, yeah, and again, we can debate that too. It's much the same thing. There's something to be said for getting to the playoffs. It's not the worst place to be. It's not where you want to be, and all of that. So Yeah, well, we'll see how things progress this week. Couple of just quick notes outside of Penn State football. Yep, there's some other stuff going on. Penn State Wrestling did release its schedule for the upcoming season. 3 Bryce Jordan Center dual meets. Nittany Lions will open the season against Oklahoma in the BJC. Also, Nebraska and Ohio State will visit for Jordan Center matches. So, if you're keeping track at home, that's 4 Rec Hall matches and 3 Bryce Jordan Center matches in the upcoming season. And Nittany Lions will be going to Nashville for the collegiate duels once again right before Christmas and the week before Christmas. And they'll also have the Army West Point Invitational that they will again be competing in. And of course, Penn State will host the Big Ten Championships this season and will make the short trip to Cleveland for the NCAA Championships this year as well.
Interesting.
So,
is there by chance the day after the hockey game? Is there a match that Sunday?
You know, I'm going to have
February
to. 1st. I'll have to look that up now.
That'd be pretty cool, though. It would be a great weekend right there.
Yep, no doubt. So, women's volleyball got a nice win over USC and then turns around and loses to UCLA. Kennedy Martin has a phenomenal weekend, named the Big Ten Player of the Week.
Did you by chance watch my
crazy
show last
what
night?
she was able to do. I did not see it last night. We had
our friend Langdon, right?
Yeah, I ended up doing PA over at the
That's
Lord.
Kennedy Martin.
Yeah, that is crazy. That is a tall.
She
woman.
is 6'6".
I knew she was tall, but wow.
Landon is 6'6" or 6'5". She's everything on 6'6".
Yeah, no doubt.
That's from our show last night. She was
That's
fantastic.
crazy.
Didn't know her father.
She
Her father
is.
played in the NFL. All that stuff. She got 3 younger sisters. Really cool interview. Very
that's
very
cool.
well-spoken
I'll
girl.
check that out. I didn't get to see. I was actually got called into duty at the State College boys soccer game last night to do some PA. A lot of fun. Congratulations to the Little Lions on winning their senior night matchup 3-0 over Chambersburg last night. And State High football is rolling along at 5-1 on the season as well. All right.
LaSalle got upset Saturday.
Yeah. Oh, did they?
Yeah, lost to Roman Catholic.
No kidding. That's a crazy season. The other thing is, I think Penn State gets in with 2 losses just because I think there's going to be enough craziness. Now, whether they get a home game, I think largely may depend on how Indiana and Nebraska now finish up or go into that.
Well,
that
I
Penn State
got
game.
Indiana maybe beating Oregon, and then Penn State beating Indiana, and then it's like, okay, those losses negate each other.
Yeah, that would be nice to see.
Right?
I'm not sure I'm buying that, but I do think this season is going to be. I think we're going to see some bonkers results. I really do. I think there's going to be some games where you're like, well, that. How in the world did that just
You
happen?
heard me, as I said before, I think we need that to happen because I think with our out-of-conference schedule.
Yeah, we'll maybe kick that around a little bit more on Thursday as well. Folks, until Thursday, be good and
No one likes making trips to the gas station. Well, Lion Country Kia can help. If you're tired of going to the gas station all the time, Lion Country Kia can help with the 2025 Kia Sportage Hybrid. Save now with 2.9% APR financing for up to 48 months. And get $500 Kia Finance bonus cash. There's 14 available that get 38 MPG combined. Say goodbye to all those pump visits. 2025 Kia Sportage Hybrids start at just $32,285. And be sure to check out the full Kia lineup too. And their selection of certified pre-owned Kias. Remember, every new Kia comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Ease that pain at the pump with a 38 MPG combined 2025 Kia Sportage Hybrid from Lion Country Kia, 1334 Drivable Street off Shiloh Road behind Sam's Club, State College.
Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. For details, see dealer or go to kia.com.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food. Get to Quaker Steak Lube.
I'm the Modelo Recruiter, and I'm looking for fans with good hands and great speed. The ones who stay focused and never miss a play. They go the distance on game day, even when their team is away. I'm always watching, always looking to reward more full-time fans. Because football isn't really football without you.
A lot has changed about State College. One thing that hasn't is W.C. Clark's Coffee Roasters on 234 East Calder Way. 30 different varieties of specialty coffee beans sourced from over 25 countries and roasted with love each morning in Happy Valley for over 45 years. They'll ship their fresh roasted coffee from their doorstep to yours. Order online at statecollegecoffee.com. That's statecollegecoffee.com.
Hi, welcome to Timberland Federal Credit Union, a financial cooperative for its members, tracing all the way back to 1973.
Experience Timberland Federal Credit Union, where you're greeted with a smile and financial solutions are tailored to your unique life journey. Here, we're not just financial professionals, we're your neighbors, people invested in your financial needs, literacy, and empowerment. Your dreams matter to us, whether they're about buying a home, growing a nest egg, or embarking on new adventures. TFCU draws from the past and invests in the future, offering modern tools like online banking to give you the freedom to manage your money practically anytime. Additionally, we're passionate about giving back both time and resources because enhancing our community is at the core of why we're here. Visit TFCU in person or online to learn more about our services and apply for a membership today.
WFXX, once again.
The Fox, your sports radio.
Broadcasting live, loud and proud from Central PA Sports Authority. WFXS America.
98.7 The Fox, State College, the Goon and Ironhead.